Attention passionate Montreal, Canadiens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the Atlantic Division and it could shake up the entire conference. We're talking about a direct impact on Montreal Canadiens' path to another Stanley Cup run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Montreal Canadiens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Montreal Canadiens fans. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been paying attention to the NHL scene, especially to the Canadiens, you know that this offseason has been anything but quiet. Montreal, as many of you know, is a team in transition, a team that's trying to reposition itself for the future while still competing in the present. And boy, has this summer shown us that the Canadiens are not just sitting back and waiting, they're actively working the phones, making moves, and setting up for a big push forward. Let's start with the big move that kicked off a lot of discussions, the acquisition of Noah Dobson at the draft. Now, for those of you who might have missed it, that was a blockbuster, a real statement of intent from the Canadiens management. Dobson, a top-pair defenseman, brings a lot to the table: size, skill, and a great hockey IQ. It was a clear signal that Montreal's front office, led by GM Kent Hughes, is serious about building a deep, balanced roster capable of competing for the Stanley Cup in the next few seasons. But as any true fan knows, one move isn't enough. The Canadiens are far from done. They've got their eyes on more targets, especially on the offensive side, where they feel they need to add more punch, more scoring talent to their top six. And that's where things get interesting. Even after trading away Logan Mailloux in exchange for Zachary Bolduc, the Canadiens are still exploring options to bolster their forward lines. Sources close to the team have indicated that Montreal is still actively pursuing a top-six winger, someone who can slot in next to Ivan Demidov and give the team a real scoring threat. And yes, that includes the intriguing possibility of acquiring Jordan Kyrou from St. Louis. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Kyrou has a no-trade clause, so it's not a simple deal. But teams are feeling the pressure this summer, especially those who missed out on big free agents or were disappointed in their draft plans. The Canadiens see Kyrou as a perfect fit, young, talented, and with the potential to thrive in Montreal's system. Remember, Montreal traded a key piece in Mailloux, so they're willing to make bold moves, even if it means pushing some boundaries. But the interest in Kyrou isn't just about that one player. The Canadiens have been quietly monitoring the entire wing market, including other rising stars like Jason Robertson or Martin Necas, who could be available depending on how their respective teams handle their RFAs and UFAs. The NHL summer is a fluid, ever-changing landscape, and Montreal is ready to pounce when the right opportunity presents itself. The challenge, of course, is cap space. The Canadiens are currently about $5.4 million over the salary cap, mainly because of Carey Price's contract, which still looms large. Price, as many fans know, has a significant signing bonus coming up on September 1st, $5 million, plus his remaining salary of around $2 million for the season. This creates a tricky situation where the Canadiens need to shed some salary, possibly through a trade or a buyout, to become cap compliant before the season kicks off. And let's talk about that cap situation, because it's a critical piece of the puzzle. Montreal has been exploring options to move Price's contract, which might be the easiest way to create some breathing room. Teams like San Jose, with their recent signings of Dmitry Orlov and Nick Leddy, are trying to get cap compliant, and contracts like Price's could be the key to unlocking those deals. Pittsburgh is also interested in trimming veteran salaries and could see Price as a potential asset for futures. The Canadiens could also consider a buyout of players like Jayden Struble, especially since he's set for salary arbitration. Interestingly, Struble's former agent was Kent Hughes himself, which adds a layer of intrigue to any potential negotiations. Now, speaking of futures and long-term planning, the Canadiens are very cautious about not jeopardizing their core. They've been clear that they won't make reckless moves that could hamper their ability to compete down the line. So, while they're exploring offers for players like Anthony Cirelli or Mason McTavish, both of whom could significantly impact their roster, they're also aware of the risks involved. The McTavish situation, for example, is complicated. The Ducks aren't keen on losing him via an offer sheet, especially given the upcoming 2026 draft, which is expected to be stacked. Plus, Anaheim is very deliberate with their RFAs, often taking their time to negotiate. But one of the most interesting threads in all of this is the potential return of Evgeny Kuznetsov. Rumors have been swirling that the talented Russian center wants to make a comeback in the NHL, and Montreal is among the teams showing interest. Why? Because the Canadiens are in dire need of a reliable, skilled center who can play significant minutes and help carry the load, especially with the departure of Christian Dvorak and the uncertain future of other centers. Kuznetsov, with his experience, skill set, and familiarity with Montreal's style from his time in the KHL, fits perfectly. Plus, he'd slot right next to Ivan Demidov, giving Montreal a formidable second-line center who can contribute offensively and defensively. Now I want to pause here for a second. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Montreal Canadiens news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Because folks, the Kuznetsov situation is not just about filling a roster spot. It's about finding a player who can elevate the team's offensive game, bring some veteran leadership, and give the Canadiens flexibility in their lineup. And the fact that nearly 10 teams are interested in Kuznetsov shows how much of a hot commodity he still is. His camp is weighing offers, but Montreal's interest is serious. It's a move that could pay dividends if it happens, especially considering the current state of Montreal's center depth. Of course, the Canadiens are also banking on Kirby Dach stepping up as their second-line center. Dach, after a rough couple of seasons, has shown flashes of the player Montreal believed they were acquiring. The challenge is consistency, but with the right line mates and some added scoring punch, he could very well become a key piece in Montreal's offensive puzzle. Still, Montreal recognizes the importance of having options. That's why they're exploring other left-handed centers, including Joe Veleno, who has been linked to the Canadiens as a potential fit. With Veleno's versatility and ability to play both center and wing, he could be a valuable piece in their lineup, especially with the departure of Christian Dvorak leaving a hole. Now, all these roster moves and potential acquisitions are happening against the backdrop of salary cap realities. The Canadiens are currently over the cap, but they're not just sitting still, they're actively looking for ways to shed salary. Carey Price's contract is front and center in these discussions, especially because of the signing bonus coming due on September 1st. Teams like San Jose and Pittsburgh could be interested, seeing Price as a way to facilitate future trades or to help them meet cap minimums. The idea of Montreal using Price's contract as a sort of cap flexibility tool is gaining traction in NHL circles. And speaking of cap management, the Canadiens are also considering buyouts and other strategic moves. Jayden Strubble's situation could lead to an arbitration process that might result in a buyout, freeing up more space. Interestingly, Strubble's former agent is Kent Hughes, so there's familiarity there, and negotiations could be smoother than expected. Meanwhile, the possibility of moving contracts like Patrick Lane's, who's currently locked into an hefty $7 million deal, has been discussed, but nothing is imminent. Montreal's focus remains on adding long-term talent, not just short-term solutions, and that means weighing all options carefully. Now, in the broader NHL landscape, teams like the San Jose Sharks and Pittsburgh Penguins are also looking to reshape their rosters, and the Canadiens could benefit from their moves or inaction. With the Sharks having multiple upcoming free agents and a need to clear cap space, Montreal's cap flexibility could be a valuable asset. The Penguins, too, are looking at the future, trying to unload veterans to make room for prospects and draft picks. All of this makes the offseason a fascinating chess game, with Montreal playing a central role. And let's not forget the other rumors that are floating around. Ilya Kovalchuk has chimed in on Connor McDavid's contract future, giving his perspective on what kind of deal the Edmonton superstar might be looking at. Meanwhile, prospects like Ivan Demidov are making their way into the NHL, and the Canadiens are watching closely, knowing that their future success depends on how well they develop young talent like him. Max Shabanov, who turned down multiple NHL offers to sign with the Islanders, could be a name to watch in the coming years as well, especially if he continues to develop his game in North America. All of this points to one thing: the Montreal Canadiens are not just fans of a long rebuild, they're actively building a team that can contend, that can surprise, and that can bring back the glory days. The offseason is far from over, and the team's front office is working tirelessly behind the scenes to find the right pieces, the right deals, and the right players to make it all come together. It's an exciting time to be a Canadiens fan because the future looks bright, even if it's still a bit uncertain. The team is laying down the groundwork for something special, and we, as fans, just have to be patient and trust that Montreal's management knows what they're doing. The passion in Montreal runs deep, and the pride in this historic franchise is what keeps the fanbase energized, hopeful, and ready for what's next. And now, Montreal Canadiens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on all these moves? Do you believe the Canadiens are on the right track? Who would you like to see them sign or trade for next? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Montreal Canadiens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Montreal Canadiens news. Thanks for being with us today, and as always, go Habs.